Welcome to the White Rabbit. And today we're going to be talking about indoctrination and how that kind of shapes your reality. Um, I'm going to rant off a few things first because, well, yes, I do this for personal development, helping others, and discovering bigger things about reality. I also do this to express myself. And I didn't do a video last week. I actually ended up skipping it because I was doing a couple one-on-ones and kind of helping others during that week, and it actually took a lot out of me. So I didn't end up doing a video, so I apologize for that. But I'll have a few things I'll comment about that in a second. The thing is my goal is to help people, and it's to illuminate as many people as I can, even if I can just help one change their life for the best, then I've done my job. I think I've said that in a couple other videos. And I don't want to repeat myself too much unless it's something that is pretty important to me, I think, or something that needs to be stressed more often. So, with that being said, I was reading a couple books because I read a lot of books, a lot of different teachings, and a lot of wisdom, depending on the kind of material I'm writing or reading. And what I noticed for, say, what I did last week when I was helping a lot of people out is that for like equality, um, equality isn't about, this is something wrote down. I'm going to read it to you right now. Um, but equality isn't about giving everyone the same piece of bread. Some need more, some need less, some need special care. And what I mean by that is um, people who are suffering the most obviously need the most tender special care. Someone who has like a lot of mental illness and is really suffering needs more help. So equality isn't giving everyone the same amount of attention. Some people need less attention, or say bigger dudes need more food and tinier, more petite humans need less food. So equality in that case isn't about giving everyone the same amount of attention or care or food or any of that in that matter. It's about giving them what is equal, which is why treating someone equal isn't the same as treating everyone under the same circumstances, because things are different. We live in a society. And so, yes, we could do things all equally, but it technically wouldn't work out the way we think it would, because as society, we don't think equally. Because, say, a man and a woman, is that I mean, yes, I think we should be treated equal. Don't get me wrong. Yes, we should. We should have equal pay, equal rights, all of that stuff. But the thing is like, say, in society, the way that we look at women and the way we look at men can cause different problems treating them the same way just because of the society we know we live in. So um, I'll move on from that. I'll move on from that and continue onward to indoctrination and this topic that we're talking about, because indoctrination is huge. It's most of your life as you grow up. So, of course, I have an example for you. So, when you grow up and you're born, right, you're given a sheet of paper. We're going to say you have a blank sheet of paper, you're born, you're a baby, and now you're learning from your parents, from your society, from all that. So things are getting scribbled onto your paper. So you have like a piece of paper that's just having stuff scribbled all over it, and it's getting filled up. And this is stuff about the world. This is stuff you were told you're a human. This is how you treat others. This is how reality is, etc., etc., etc. And then you have this paper that you just had people write on and you believed them because, I mean, what else are you supposed to do? You were very vulnerable at that point for information. You were curious about the world and you were taking things in as they came. And so you took that information and you took it for granted. We all did, don't get me wrong. No one's better than anyone else. And some of us may have questioned it, maybe some didn't. That, hey, well, if my parents were um, religious and we were born in America and it's the right church, it's the perfect country, everything's the best. Well, you can see how myopic that is, that thinking you were just lucky enough out of the thousands of religions and ideologies and all of that and countries that you were born into the right one and chosen the perfect one. I mean, that's just very nearsighted to think about. And so we have this sheet of paper that we don't really question. And the thing is to figure out what reality is about isn't about adding more to that piece of paper. It's about taking it out and seeing what's left. And you can't just start from a blank sheet because you've been given this paper scrabbled on with everything that you've been indoctrinated with. Because, I mean, imagine how many times someone told you something and you believed them. And then later, or even vice versa, you told someone something and you found out it was false later. And you were like, oh, man, I was wrong. Okay. And you're like, but I'm not wrong about the rest of these things. And so you can see what kind of trap you can fall into by just taking for granted the things you were told, how reality is, who you are, that you're a human, and that you were born with parents, and that, and of course, this all sounds outlandish because you're like, oh, well, of course you are, but don't be so sure about what you think you know, because if you were indoctrinated with a Christian lifestyle or a scientist, objective scientist lifestyle, or you were object or born into a racist family, or you were born into whatever it is, think about your life and how different it would have been in other pretenses where someone else was filling out that paper. If you were born in the Middle East, it would be much different. You wouldn't. You would be Muslim. You would be following their customs. You would be trying to survive in their customs, and your parents would have taught you what they know and how they survive. And your sheet of paper would look completely different than the religious person in America than the religious person in the Middle East. And so you can kind of see that something's going off there. That, wait, we could just stand there and objectively point at everyone and say, well, they're wrong. We have the best way of thinking. And isn't it funny that everyone does that? And so you see that all the time, like almost always, because the ego is really good at thinking and it knows what's best for reality when it doesn't even come close. There's plenty of people. I used to be like this, where it was like, if only people listened to me, if only everyone did exactly what I did, the universe would be perfect, the world would be perfect, etc., etc., etc. But obviously, that's just very egoic and ignorant to think that way, because reality is the way it is because it's perfect. It's the matrix of your mind that prevents you from seeing perfection of reality because your ego gets offended and it needs to defend itself. And so when something threatens it, then it doesn't like that thing. Obviously, you don't like poison, it threatens your survival. And if it threatens your survival, then you don't like it. I mean, that's fair. It's good because you get to survive. But survival goes so much deeper than just food, water, and security and shelter. It also goes into your way of living, the things you do like, the people you don't like, the things you don't like, etc. It's survival goes so much deeper than just the basic needs. And the mind is insane because what I'm trying to do here is deconstruct your reality and just show you different viewpoints that can kind of spark your mind to go, aha, I never thought like that way before. And kind of open up your ability to see reality for what it is. And also, while it seems I have two different agendas here, they are the same agenda. Where personal development, I want you to love your life, I want you to make the most out of it. If you want money and material things and you need motivation and ambition to do these things and what you need to do and how you need to be, then I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you what techniques to use, what to watch out for, what to be aware of. But in the end, that material stuff's never going to make you happy. And I want people to be uh, truly happy. But of course, obviously, we have to work out those kinks and get your, because you start out with a toxic ego and you have to develop it into a healthy one and then transcend it from there. So it's kind of a balance because, yes, we do need to worry about those material things because if you don't have your basic needs and your survival met, then you can't really get outside your comfort zone and learn things and grow. So while I want both of those things, my main goal is to help others to get to that point where they can love their life, but then also go even further. So when I talk about the matrix, because I probably will a lot, and I talk about the matrix of the mind, is that reality is real. Reality exists, and it's no simulation or any of that thing. But the thing is your mind projects most of reality. So you actually are left with kind of a scribbled up piece of paper instead of just the piece of paper itself, which is reality. But when your mind projects things and labels things and decides what reality is and what reality isn't, you're actually taking away what reality absolutely is. So I always want to be conscious of the matrix and the mind because in the all reality, you experience the present moment. And in the present moment, your mind isn't projecting reality onto it. But that's a talk for another day. We're going to keep going about indoctrination and why it's important just to be aware of, see the things that have been indoctrinated into you. Because when you want to personally develop and you look into the things that have indoctrinated you, we want to deconstruct that so we can see what's left, you're going to see that there are a lot of unconscious things that you've taken for granted that we have to bring to the forefront of the mind so that we can transcend into a healthier way of living. So I think I've talked a little bit of it in the past, but you have like therapists and scientists and what they do, and you may see me um, talk not necessarily against them or bad because they definitely do good work and I respect them for what they do. But um, the thing is like therapy and science and all of these things are limited under a certain paradigm that they operate under. And so it lacks holistic thinking. So when you're a therapist and you operate under the material paradigm, it can actually cause a real problem if you experience something outside of that. So there was a lady that had joined a monastery and was meditating for a few years and stuff, and it was good and dandy. And she ended up leaving and dropping it all and was riding on a bus. I don't know when this was. I know it was probably before phones because it's not something you could just readily look up anymore. But as she was on the bus, she just lost her sense of self. Like, no sense of self, of who she was. Like, her ego just dissolved at that moment. And she went to therapy and she went to psychologists and she was like, "What's wrong with me? What happened?" And it's funny because she became enlightened, and any mystic or any Google search nowadays can kind of tell you that. But back then, you go to the psychologist and say, "I lost my sense of self. I like my ego has been dissolved, whatever," and they're gonna tell you that you're crazy, that you're mentally ill, you need this and you need that, and obviously that's not gonna be true because, I mean, she just obtained enlightenment, which is actually probably one of the hardest slash greatest things that could ever happen to someone in their life is the realization of truth itself, which is attained through spiritual enlightenment. We'll talk more about that later, but you can see how in that story, the indoctrination and the therapist telling her that she was crazy and all those other things, instead of what actually happened, is that it causes a whole 180 to what's going on because now you think you're crazy, you think this and this and this, but the people around you who are limited and limit themselves off of what they believe and what they're indoctrinated with, then you actually can't get down to truth, which is fair. I mean, society nowadays, we don't really care about truth. We care about money and we care about fame and stature and all these things. We might say we like truth, but we only care about truth if it benefits us. And so this is for those people who really can see past all of the petty human bullshit, as I like to call it, where we're done chasing money, we're done chasing material things because you've done it your whole life. And guess what? You're still suffering. It didn't help you. You chase sex, you chase money, you chase these things, you chase them for your whole life, and you're still not happy. It's definitely not because you didn't obtain it or you didn't obtain enough. It was because those things could never make you actually happy. And that's what I want from people is to, of course, follow your passions, but your desires for worldly possessions will only end in suffering. And I want you to find what works the best for you. I want you to find your passions. I want you to find out how to become actually happy, not just dopamine pleasures. So, I mean, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. I'm looking at my papers here. Um, the biggest advice I can give is to trust yourself. Don't look upon authority figures to tell you what's true. Don't look at scientists or therapists or psychologists or this or even me to tell you what's true and what's not. That's something you have to discover for yourself. And I'm going to release a video in the future about a lot of these topics I kind of briefly touched on and how to discover what's true for yourself without taking anybody on their faith. Because, yes, you want to give faith to, say, like me, please give faith that what I'm telling you is going to lead somewhere beautiful and amazing because I don't need you to believe what I say, but you have to have some sort of belief that what you're doing is actually going to have a positive effect. Otherwise, you're not going to have the ambition to go and do it. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all those things. Please comment because here's the thing is I want everyone to get this information as I can. I'm trying to pump out as many videos as I can before I start to like mass market this and so I have a lot of content. So please share it to others, get it out there. Please comment because right now, when you're teaching over a YouTube video or just like through camera here, is that I can touch upon brief things. I don't have any feedback unless you comment. So if I need to clarify something or justify something, make sure that we don't fall in any traps that I may have forgotten to list because I'm not perfect. There's a lot of information I'm going to share, and it's going to be really hard to look back into my past and see the traps I fell into, every single trap I fell into, etc., etc. So please leave a comment because that'll let me know who's watching this, what you guys want to see. Because the thing is that I'm not doing this for me per se. I'm doing this to help you guys, and for me to help you, you got to help me. Let me know what kind of things you're struggling with the most so that I can release videos on that. When I do one-on-ones with other people, and you can actually contact me in my channel, it's like lifeastin@gmail.com. You can contact me so we can have a one-on-one, whether it's a face chat or any of those things, however you're most comfortable for doing it, so that I can help you with what's personally affecting you. And while I can do that, I would also love to release videos of the things I've learned and things I'm learning so that we can all grow on this path together so that you can get the help you want. And I'm going to do it for free so that this content can get out there and so everyone has a chance to get better because it always irks me. I understand why some spiritual retreats and all these things request money. I get it. It costs a lot of money to do these things. And you have a lot of really good people who are working retreats and all these things or have really important content to share with you. But the thing is I don't want to make spiritual money or spirituality and consciousness or personal development. I don't want to gamble your life with money. I want you to have this information for free. I want to make sure that anyone who wants a high quality of life doesn't have to have money because I know what it's like to not have money. And I was grateful enough to find people who are willing to release information for free that's worth millions of dollars because this information that I've received and that I'm sharing, that I'm learning and teaching, is information that I wish schools would have taught me. I wish I would have been able to pull my head out my ass and teach myself because this information is more important than almost anything in your life if you can see it that way. Because what's better than a good quality of life and an understanding of reality? I mean, isn't that what we're here for? Is for whatever the hell we want. So thank you for watching. Um, I love you. I don't care who you are. I don't need any sort of conditions to give my love. Um, yeah, have a good night. Have a good day.